Dry Wells is a massive lore-friendly quest and land expansion with over 30 quests, over 35 fully voiced characters, new minor factions, player homes, and multiple main quest lines. This is what led to the amazing Long 15 NCR Expansion mod. It was made first, and by the same team. And while Dry Wells is around 4 times shorter in terms of gameplay, we're still talking about an easy 6 hours of new content that modders gifted to the community. Both of these focus on locations that you cannot visit on the base game, at least not without nuking them at the end of the Lonesome Road DLC. Well, you can now just run straight over there from Doc Mitchell's house, and so I thought, I'll go at level 1, on very hard difficulty and with hardcore mode on. And how about if the only item that I bring is our trusty Vault 13 canteen? Can you beat Dry Wells at level 1? A tickle to the brain and a weird dream later and Bigos Dicos II did not come to mind. The lad that led to a concussion put the mailman out of a job, and without having delivered the platinum chip, he went broke, so it's only fair to stick by the faction that's too poor to afford pants. The stats I'm gonna go with are 9 in strength, endurance, agility, and luck. 2 in intelligence and 1 in both perception and charisma. His best skills are guns, medicine, and melee weapons, and the traits that most define him are heavy-handed and built to destroy. I've left everything I've ever owned behind to repay the good doctor's kindness, except for our trusty Vault 13 canteen, that is, and I started walking. I kicked some wind Brahmin for the World Cup, and the most difficult thing when trying to get near Cottonwood Cove right after leaving Good Springs and Doc Mitchell's house is to have the mental fortitude not to make the courier walk faster. No wonder people install sprinting mods. This walk alone took me 20 minutes. But you can just ignore and run past the geckos on the way to Prim. The NCR Trooper is a yapper, but he lets you through. The ants and the jackals by Nipton are optional as well, and I met Vulpes. He wants me to help, and I sure will, just not in the Mojave. I took the route that the Legion used to avoid the ambush, and getting from Wolfhorn Ranch into Camp Searchlight was a breeze. First Sergeant Astor tells us that if we want a new haircut, we just need to stand in the center of town. And man, why is the NCR helping me? Running back from the ghouls was okay-ish. I did look back to see if I had finally gotten some distance, but all I got was a bitch slap. So I kept running. I held my chin up high, knowing that was perfectly avoidable and we're not going to Cottonwood Cove. Cause that is not where the boat to Dry Wells is. It's on Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals. Exactly what I need, a fuck ton of hungry lake clerks. I died without seeing a boat. And as I kept dying a bit more, I saw a boat. The horde kept being a nuisance, but eventually they stormtrooped it, just enough for me to see the first NPC that is exclusive to Dry Wells. David. I grabbed everything he had on him, and I prayed that Toxic Whiteout had made sure that the lake clerks wouldn't follow me, and they didn't. Thanks, man. This meant a lot to me. In fact, that wasn't toxic at all. Alongside the map to Dry Wells, I saw the first piece of gear and weapon that I was allowed to equip. A mercenary's grunt outfit and a cowboy rap eater. I took a look around. There's the Legion camp, the river, a cave, a bridge that leads to a lodge, and some buildings. Not knowing where to go first, I just went on to greet the gate guard.
Halt! Dry Wells and all of the land beyond this gate belong to Kaisar. What business do you have here?
I asked him if he wanted to be my friend, and he gave me the rundown. We'll look at the locations in detail later. What matters the most right now is to abide by Legion law, which to us can be summed up as no cams and no booze. They even got a bar called The Last Drop, and that's funny because it's a dry bar in Dry Wells. Though I do hope that the wells ain't that dry, cause I'm gonna need food and I'm gonna need water. But as long as we do not attack or work against the Legion, we should be fine and free to roam. And while the gate guard states that both the merchants and the quote-unquote subjects here are safe and prefer their rule to the alternatives, he does mention that we are welcome to speak to them and to see it for ourselves. I will definitely be checking that out. And since most of the content is gonna be past the gates, I decided to explore the other small areas first, to look for loot and map markers and to get an understanding of what is where. One of such locations is the Hunters Guild. They provide tributes from their hunts to the Legion, which, great. Taxes. Who doesn't love those?
You're from the Mojave, right? Is it true you can see New Vegas for miles?
Yup. just know that New Vegas can see you for miles too. The ants having a spike was a nice touch, and inside the Hunters Guild we can meet a few people, like Rick Sawyer, who is behind the counter.
Dry Wells is home. Before the war, this place was a resort town, and apparently tourists came from miles to visit. Now it's a supply hub for the Legion. They run a pretty tight ship here, and we know better than to try and get in their way. Not many tourists anymore, I'm afraid. It's not all military, though. And between us and the Villa, there's a pretty sizable civilian population here.
Rick also explains that this is what's left of the Hunters Guild. They used to be a sizable faction, and they're down to what we can see in this building. His father founded the guild, passed it on to the Nepo Bebe, and they've been here long before the Legion arrived. I asked if I could join, and he's not sure. Apparently, they recently lost a lot of people in their home to a band of Night Stalkers, and they suspect foul play. So, yeah, they're not exactly drowning in blind trust at the moment, but if we prove ourselves, they will consider giving us bigger jobs, like hunting. Obviously. I like the sound of that, and our first task is a simple Mojave Eats delivery, fitting for a mailman that's in need of any gigs that he can find. But he also asks us to be quick about it, since Kaiser's troops aren't exactly the most forgiving group, especially when they're hungry. We also learned that by dealing with the critters and providing weekly tributes, the Legion doesn't poach their members for their army, and that they get to trade any extra meat and keep most of the profits. Most of the profits.
It's really not that bad, as long as you're the type that can keep your head down. Smartasses find their way onto a cross pretty quick around here.
And lastly from him, when we ask if there's any other hunter guilds around, he says maybe. Not here, that is for sure. Then I met Gage, and asked him if he wanted to trade.
I'd love to, but all my stuff is locked up near the lodge. Rick won't let me near it until we get the place back.
That explains the big building past the bridge. It's where they used to live before the Night Stalkers attacked. But if we need repairs, we can come back and ask him to do it. And since his name is Gage, just know that I'm very likely to re-edit my Nuka World run. Not only did the video not take off, but even worse, I noticed I cut out a joke's punchline by mistake. That annoyed me so much. And I still have that footage, so yeah. A few director's cuts, and it will be an easy re-edit. Gage also tells us his backstory. He's been a merchant for years, and both Rick and Trudy, which we're about to meet, used to be customers of his. He crossed the Colorado, and he hasn't looked back. In fact, he likes it here, despite previously living on NCR territory.
I'm not a fan of the NCR lands.
He even adds that he is pretty sure that all of the other merchants would agree. Lastly, Trudy.
I'm Trudy Lawson. I was born and raised here in Dry Wells, and I've been a part of the Hunters Guild as long as I can remember.
She says that the Hunters Guild is about as free as one can get in Legion territory, and that while the Legion doesn't need help in keeping the peace, the Guild does have a place in clearing the wilds. But when she's asked about her honest opinion on the Legion, she's just blunt with it. She used to help lead this place, the Guild, and now she's barely allowed to be a part of it.
They don't want me to carry weapons, they don't want to allow me to fight, and they sure as hell don't want me working.
This one I found interesting, cause we all know that Kaiser loves babies, but he's not making them for them. So why the fuck would they care? Cause Kaiser does not care if the courier is a woman. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't care what the Huntress did either way, but this kinda makes sense, cause Kaiser is not here. Gaius Magnus is, and when asked why she just doesn't leave, she says that Dry Wells has been her home her entire life, that she was born just up the river. Here, she has the Hunters Guild, friends, a roof over her head. There was another building down the road, I found some healing powder and poultice, some food and water, a skill magazine, and I went to the bridge.
Wish I could have a beer right now.
And I wished I could have that Yaowai meat right now, so I took it. Luckily for me, I didn't see a single Night Stalker, but I also couldn't get into the lodge or any buildings by it. I got the map marker, some loot, and I saw a boat. I didn't have the lock picking to crack the underwater safe, but I found some food and I made it to the cave. Turns out it's just a tunnel. There wasn't a single enemy inside, and it leads to a beach by the end of the explorable part of the river. In one of the trailers I found ammo, a machete and a laser pistol, and turns out there is a cave, but it's locked. I'm going back. Past the gates, I saw a watchtower, and up the stairs I met Explorer Lexus. He's got a job for us.
I do have a small task for you. I happened across a note the other day when I was patrolling up the hill. It looked to be an exploration log from before the Legion's rule here. It contained mentions of the Twisted Hares tribe. The Twisted Hares have been eradicated and erased by Kaisar's order himself. So any notes retelling their history must be removed.
If you've met Ulysses, you've met a former member of the Twisted Hares. And if I find any notes about them and turn them in, I'll be getting a small reward for each. Then I saw tents with footlockers, and the loot goblin in me couldn't leave them alone. I got everything that I saw. Fruits, healing powder, machetes, Legion armor, caps, that sort of thing. No stimpaks though. Just like I suspected. I looted some buildings too, and that's when I saw a Legion subject drinking Nuka-Cola and staring at a wall. He didn't want to be bothered. I encouraged the slave to sweep the bathroom floor, found a bobby pin, a skill book, and I found the mess tent hall and the head chef.
My name is Paula, but the Legionaries call me Freeman. I think it's a joke to them. The fact that I'll never be free again.
Oh, for fuck's sake, it's the when will we be free? All over again? Alternate universe Gordon Freeman's lack of cryostasis came with cooking skills, and she was the one expecting the food delivery from the Hunters Guild. We can ask for one meal a day, desert salad or an omelette. Yeah, you do you, I'm not picking the salad. And when asked to whom I could speak about purchasing her freedom.
You're serious? You would help me? Oh, thank you so much. I've been hoping for a moment like this for as long as I can remember.
Right up the hill, the first office on the right side of the road. Cannot miss it. Man, I'm gonna feel bad. Later. For now, and if we are to see to that, she's gonna need shelter too. Thomas in the villa would be the man to talk to for that. Then I saw a ghoul with a mustache. Just by the clinic, and I asked Medicus Felix about his relationship with the Legion.
The Legion and the physicians, like myself, have a pretty unique relationship. We are obliged to help the troops and subjects without much pay. In return, we are provided safety, stability, and a better standard of living than most. The Countess Remus ordered this house cleared for my practice. This building was used to house veteran legionaries. Can you believe that? I get better quarters than most of Kaisar's finest.
Of course I believe it. That's how most dogs of wars have been treated throughout history. In his inventory I noticed what I thought was a new aid item, Fiery Purgative. Turns out it's from Lonesome Road, but it cures animal poison and takes away a bit of your soaked up rads in turn for a temporary debuff of -1 to your endurance. It can come in handy, and it is super cheap. And up the road was the command tent with the Canis Remus. Got any work for me?
There's a merchant along I-40 that has been harassing legionaries, asking probing questions. I don't want him dead. I want answers.
We're told to investigate, and if we can figure things out, then plenty more work will become available. That gets the main quest going, but we still have plenty of people to meet. And I don't want to miss a single side quest, even though I'll only be doing one playthrough instead of going over all the different quest branches. Interestingly enough, we can ask Remus about Constantine, and if he hates him. After all, he was the man responsible for conquering Remus's tribe.
Do the blind hate those who give them sight? Does a child hate its parents for giving them life? No. The Legion and Constantine raised my tribe from the ground and showed me the truth. Might makes right. And the Legion is mighty.
Okay, found the poet. This is what happens when you have a way with words and booze is banned. I also mocked him a little bit.
Look, everyone. This profligate can tell jokes. Put on a clown hat for me, profligate. Tell me some more jokes, clown.
He didn't start shooting, so I guess he does have a sense of humor alongside the sass. Near the one well that I found in Dry Wells, I discovered the recruit Nemo and that the well isn't dry.
You must maintain a good reputation with the Legion to obtain water. Improve your reputation before speaking to me again.
I found the bucket, the crossroads, and okay, I've got to admit it. The place is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I saw some buildings, went through a door, and met Sam Prescott, one of the main vendors.
You're shopping at Sunscorch Supplies, the best general store available in Dry Wells. We specialize in... well, we don't really specialize in anything, but we have a little bit of everything.
I made some caps, noticed that he too can repair equipment, and Dry Wells has a barber shop.
Welcome to Tony's Barber Shop. You're speaking to the man himself. How can I help you?
I don't need a haircut. Thanks. But I did notice an elevator.
Oh, ain't that thing cool? when I first moved in here, it wasn't working, but Dan over at the villa helped me get it running. Sure was a pain in the ass getting up there with the stairs removed. Pretty sure some quirky guy owned the place before me. Had it all swapped out. I got a ladder set up back there too in case the power goes out. I'm screwed if it breaks for good. Can't imagine getting a mattress upstairs again.
Honestly, that's fair. Unlike asking for 100 caps to get a haircut, damn! We can also ask him what's it like to do business with a legion around, to which he replies that Kaiser is not too bad. He keeps the lights on. As for Tony, he has to give the legion haircuts for free, and he doesn't own the place. But they let him make some money, troublemakers are dealt with, and business is booming.
One time, I had a guy not pay for his haircut, so I yelled at him down the street. Saw a legionary chase him down and just cut the poor guy's hand off.
And of course that I got curious about the elevator. There was nothing special up there, yeah, it's just the guy's room. Then again, I cannot imagine getting the mattress upstairs either. Then I went into the office of slavery and met Decanus Proximus.
I am Decanus Proximus, head slave master here at Drywell. I oversee operations of the Office of Slavery, the Capture Center, and the slave quarters. It may sound like a lot of work, but I have a talent for administration, especially in regards to the cattle.
Yeah, bro, just say you enjoy the paperwork and the power that comes with the uniform.
No.
Instead of being on the front lines, we'll get it. But he also mentions that he calls them cattle because even when they outnumber the Legion 5-1, they never rise up or fight back. Yeah, but that's what happens when you have guns and they don't. Provided that they like to breathe, of course. He is also the guy we can talk to about purchasing Paula's freedom. He is a bit unsure why we'd want to do that, and since he deems her to be quite useful, he wants 400 caps. I could have also lied and gotten Paula in trouble. I'll just make my decision later. And in the fire station, I got my hands on a few fire helmets and fire axes. And in the offices in the upper floors, I met Decanus Octavius.
This is the Drywell's Capture Processing Center. Any captures, soon-to-be slaves, and prisoners are sent here and processed.
In the ranch house, I almost got caught looting. I didn't notice the recruits, but thankfully no one was paying attention. A service rifle, a sawed-off shotgun, and leather armor are now on the menu as well. I did some repairs, mostly because of my carry weight, so that the gate by the ranch doesn't lead anywhere, and I noticed the administration building. It's locked, for now, but upstairs it had another skill book. Next, I found a map marker for the Twisted Hair's cave, but I didn't stray. I went to the villa, met more vendors. In Dan and Jan's we learned that they've got a big hole in the wall.
Well, my wife and I wanted to get a little closer, and I was tired of going all the way to her side to use the bathroom. I'm just kidding.
I don't think that he's kidding. That really is where the one bathroom is. And when asked if the Legion lets his wife run the store, no, because of course not. They are under Legion rules, but they do allow her to be his employee or his caretaker, and he remembers Drywell's a little bit differently than some of the others we've spoken to.
Things were much worse when the Twisted Hairs were here. So much violence. The Legion is harsh, but they keep things stable.
And that is why villains with complex backstories are more interesting than just seeing random raiders shoot at you on sight. After talking to Dan, I talked to Jan.
Oh, hey there. If you'd like to buy any books, you'll need to speak to my husband, Dan.
Damn, they really don't even let you sell books? Look, lady, if I want to buy a book, I'll put up Skyrim. Don't take it personally, it's followed. But if I do need a skill magazine, I'll come back and check. Interestingly enough, she does say that under Legion rule, they haven't had not one looter, which does reinforce the complexity once again. The situation is far from ideal, but things are stable. They can go about their daily lives knowing that they will be safe as long as they don't cross the Legion. Then came the Drywell. Man, what a great name for a dry bar. Noah, he runs the shop. The place is more of a restaurant though.
I'm Noah. I've been the owner and operator of the Drywell for going on 6 years now. The bar was just called The Well back in the day.
He says that business is alright, that the villa is pretty safe, and he gave me another rundown of the main locations around the area. The last location here in the villa is the housing complex, though to be fair, I did find Diego Ortiz's house, but he wasn't in there and I only found Michelini's loot. As for Thomas, he can rent us a room and he's the person we can talk to on behalf of Paula.
Paula sure has a talent for cooking, doesn't she? Never lets anything go to waste either. Tell Paula we would welcome her here with open arms. As long as she's a free woman, there shouldn't be any issue. Hopefully she can find it in her heart to help us in our kitchen too. We don't have anyone worth their salt in there. No pun intended.
He tells us that the Legion has kept the roads clear, that they haven't been attacked by raiders since they moved in, and that they do have both running water and running electricity. But that if we want his personal opinion, that we will not get it here. As for that room, I don't have the 150 cups to get it, but I assume it's a one-off payment, much like in Novak. And beside him was Caitlin.
I moved here after I heard the Legion took over an old resort town. I thought I'd see it for myself.
That's basically what I did too. Apparently this building used to be a hotel, and the administration building some kind of grand event hall. When asked if she supports the Legion, she just says that she's open to alternatives, but that there really aren't any in here. She mentions hearing that the NCR has been losing in the Mojave pretty badly, and so she doesn't think that there is a chance of the NCR making it this far east anytime soon, which, yep, that is about as realistic as one can be. And as I was exploring the building, I found a sniper rifle. I couldn't grab it, but I could drop it from the balcony, so that's what I did. And then I dragged it to a place where I could get it into my inventory without anyone seeing me do it. And on the last area we've got to explore, past the villa and the ranch, I saw a suspicious merchant. I didn't have enough speech, and I didn't want to let the guy know that the Legion's onto him, so I let him be. And as I noticed another traveling merchant, it seems that we found another dry bar. The last drop. So I asked the bartender, Marty, if he had any work for us.
I've got a small job for you. The legionaries at the water well have been turning my Brahmin around empty-handed. Water's obviously my top seller. I'm a one-man operation, so it's a pinch hard for me to pack up and barter with them. If you can help me broker a deal, I'll make sure to cut you in.
He says that he normally pays 200 caps, or 50 denarii, and that he is guessing that the price went up. As for his comments about the regions, it beats NCR territory, he says. No bandits, no fiends, and he didn't exactly have that many great interactions with the NCR.
This is the last drop. Get it? Because we're in dry wells. I came up with that one myself.
I did get it, man. Just like I noticed that the one well isn't dry. And by gates is the Canus Milo. Can I go through?
You may not. Passage beyond dry wells is restricted to Legion subjects, merchants, and legionaries at this time.
Okay, so that is the map. Dustfall Mine is really close to the gate, and as I entered another miscellaneous building, I hit level 2. I put the points into speech. I don't have a speech magazine, so I cannot go back to the merchant yet, and I took the confirmed bachelor perk. Back to Finding Nemo, and the price did go up. It's 300 caps per week now. I couldn't pay on Marty's behalf, so I went back to the Hunters Guild. And I told Rick that I delivered the food.
Great, thanks. That means your brain and legs are functioning properly, which is a good start. Speak to Trudy if you want any more work. I think we can start giving you some real jobs.
I do need the caps. And Trudy, she'll start us with a smaller hunt. Mole rats. Near the Twisted Hares' camp, which is now slightly charred, is a mole rat nest, and it's been attracting both animals and scavengers. Well, the cave is, not the nest, but still. And in conversation, and unlike some of the folk in the villa, Trudy says that she preferred the Twisted Hares over the Legion. We're also welcome to keep any spoils we find in the cave for ourselves, cause they don't want meat from animals that have fed on human bodies. Anyways, I started hacking, whacking, and smacking as I give the machete a go. It is one of the Legion's most used weapons, and it sucks. Soon as my health dropped, I pulled out the sniper rifle, took out the matriarch down, and a random mole rat got me. So I had my revenge, and I used the fire axe to finish the rest of them off. I found a note on the dissolution of the Twisted Hares. That note doesn't count towards the other quest because it's not an explorer's log. And outside...
What are you doing here? This is my claim. You trying to steal my shit? Nobody steals my shit. I was hit first!
A crazed scavenger is threatening me, and he pulls a gun out. I doubled it and gave it to the same person. Sniper rifle fire axe combos feeling great, but yeah, all the loot was miscellaneous. The game did say that the scavenger was crazed, so okay. I checked the notes and I went back to Trudy. She's ready to hand me another assignment, and if we complete it, we're in. We're allowed to join them. But the next task is to clear an entire cave of Yaogwai. This leveled me up, I rounded speech to 30 and put the rest of the points into melee. Before going back to the beach, I went back to the suspicious merchant. That's some pretty serious gear. Are you preparing for a fight or something?
Hey, take it easy. Keep your voice down. I'm just trying to protect myself here. Alright, shoot. I should have planned this better. Are you working with the Legion?
Folded under 30 speech of pressure. Oh, brother, I lied to the guy. In fact, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna look a lot better on a cross than me. I reported back to Remus. The merchant was apprehended and taken to the fire station, and we have been invited to talk to Centurion Constantine directly. After selling some of my loots, I was finally above 400 caps, and I told Proximus that Paula has been speaking of an uprising, that she was plotting to kill him. That fails the next part of the Unshackled quest, and I hear shooting. Sorry, Paula, but this is what the breezed nuts would have wanted. And thanks for the squirrels, too. I went back to Dory's best friend, gave him the 300 caps, and I had an option to light some arty. I told him they wanted 500, and he gave me 700. Now that is a nice profit. I leveled up once again, kept improving melee, and took the cannibal perk. Though I'm not really planning to use it, but I am on hardcore and it is an evil run. As for the Yaoguai, man, those things are tanky. But I only went down because Amantis was being a menace. I had that first Yaoguai. The sniper rifle wasn't much of a help on the next two attempts, so I went back to trying to VATS the rat bear with the fire axe and, well... But I finally got him down on the 5th attempt. The mantises are just mantises, and I got me a well-deserved quick save. The cubs were never going to be an issue either. I used purified water and healing poultice to heal, so another Yaoguai come out of nowhere, and 4 to 5 attacks in VATS took care of it once again. Then came the giant Yaoguai. That is the reason we're here, and... Pathing. Unfortunately, the big fella did get his head in the game, made it to me, and had me for lunch. The sniper rifle isn't packing that much of a punch against them either, so this time I ate some Yaoguai meat. That's gotta intimidate them, right? Plus, it increases my damage output by 10%. I just kept being stubborn and hoping for their pathing to break once again, and it did. Around the 6th attempt, the giant Yaoguai decided that I was too much of a hassle. I got plenty of shots in. Both the giant and the regular one left, so I grabbed the frag, and that's when the smaller boy, that's still very much an adult, charged at me, but only for a second. I'm guessing it didn't like the frag, cause it turned back. Then he changed his mind again. When it finally decided to come say hi, the fire axe took care of it. I saw another cub, and the giant one still a bit broken. It ate every single frag I had. I showed him the cowboy rap eater and the plasma pistol, and it just stood there. Was it a bit anticlimactic? Yes, but I'll take it. What am I gonna say? No thanks? The only other enemies in this cave are some mantises behind an average locked gate, and some rat roaches past a very hard locked one. I just camped it and went back to Trudy.
Unbelievable! You defeated a giant Yaoguai alone? I was worried I was sending you to your death.
Oh, you were! And you know you were! I'm level 4! But now I'm also the newest member of the Hunters Guild. This gets me 300 experience points, 250 caps, an experienced hunter's outfit, and she says that it's time to go after the big one, to retake their home, the lodge, from the Night Stalkers. That's enough to reach level 5. I put all of the points into lockpick, and I told Rick that I was ready to help them retake the lodge. Before meeting them on a bridge, he said that Gage could hook me up with some supplies and a hunting shotgun, and that was free, so yep. Thanks.
Good luck.
Hope you're ready, because we're heading in now. Let's take the fight to these Night Stalkers and get our home back.
Once inside, I just stood there and let them do the heavy lifting until I was forced to defend myself. The young Night Stalkers went down in 3 hits, and while the adult ones put up a fight, they were just a bit sturdier. Their attacks weren't really that bad to tank, and so I kept kick-flipping Night Stalkers. There's just one little issue. Before I knew it, everyone but me and the rando were hell-bent on taking a forever nap, and the Night Stalkers kept coming. The lodge is huge. I saw one of the funniest death animations possible. Got plenty of weapons and armor to repair and sell later, and I made it to downstairs, where the first thing I see is a dead recruit legionary. And by a second one was a Night Stalker shock collar controller. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory.
What the hell is going on here? Dead legionaries? Shock collars? There's a note on this one's body. Leave the basement and activate the device to remove all the collars at once. The Night Stalkers will rampage and take care of the hunters. What?
Signed by Centurion Gaius Magnus himself. Oh boy. Fine, I'll just do him a solid and finish what he started. That's bound to get me on his good side, and these guys didn't much stand a chance against the fire axe. I leveled up once again, that's more points to lockpick, and I took the Bloody Mess perk. The more damage I do, the better. When I went back and tried to cross the bridge, the remaining Hunters Guild members magically knew everything that happened inside the lodge. Fortunately for me, they weren't that hard to put down either. And so I went to the administration building to meet Centurion Constantine. One guy only cared about his gains, another wasn't allowed to trade with me until I improved my standing with the Legion.
I am veteran Locatus, Legion armor and weapons master.
Good for you. Much like the others, this one too is a little bit too happy about his tribe being conquered and integrated, but that is what the Legion does. You either get brainwashed or put on a cross. And it's finally time to go and see what quest Constantine's got for us.
Just below where we stand is an old mine from the pre-war. It's been empty since our years of occupation here. However, there's been a recent change of events that have occurred. A massive horde of feral ghouls has seemingly appeared out of nowhere.
He's already sent some guys in, but he doesn't want to send actual reinforcements until they know the source of the infestation ends. I guess that's where we come in. I mean, I get why he's being cautious, but that is a lot of blind trust. Sure, I'll go in, see if Cave Runner already cleared the first part, and if we don't make it, what? Is he just gonna keep sending small numbers of legionnaires instead of a force to be reckoned with? The first thing I see is a dead feral with some medics. That is the first medics I've seen. Finally, we can get some chems. And as it turns out, Cave Runner did a pretty solid job because the initial part of the cave was cleared up.
Very well. You should know that the legionaries are a bit spooked. We've heard voices from deep in the cave. It sounded like the ferals were talking.
Okay, so that could just be ghouls living alongside ferals. Y'all have seen ghouls, y'all have defeated ferals. What's so spooky about it? Seriously, think with me. Either all of it is scary, or none of it is. So I'm gonna take it as the others being cowards, and this guy being the real deal. Plus, it's nice to have backup, and they were really good backup. The ghouls are not stronger than the giant Yaowai. Even the glowing one was weaker, but before I knew it, it was just me and Cave Runner taking care of Reavers and their cousins. And at the end, Richard Patterson. No clue who that is, but VODs did show me that he is wearing a mask. Huh. I want it.
Do you have any idea what you've just walked into?
Nope, not in the slightest. Richard goes on to tell me that I've ruined their day by bringing a bunch of Legion into the cave, which, hey, that was Constantine. Anyways, yeah, they weren't very neighborly, so I took the fire axe and showed Richard how to cut timber. Though, to be fair, I might have used him as an example of a log, so I'm not really expecting him to have learned anything. I got the mask, and immediately the others target my limbs and become really annoying. They fought well. They did what they could. They even took me down a couple times, but let's face it, the game was rigged from the start. One by one, everyone went down. Unfortunately, that included Cave Runner. As I kept exploring, I saw a door that led to the sewer control room, and that's more ghouls. I forgot to heal too. On attempt number 2, I made sure to snipe the first roamer. I pulled the rest of them back into the cave. They followed me and I just kept insisting. They're all really fast. The roamers are easy to deal with. The Reavers can tank a hit, and the glowing one's even stronger. Eventually I grabbed the fire axe, put on some better armor, healed, and melee was the way to do it. I went back to the sewers, saw another roamer. Level 7 means more lockpick, and at the end was a maintenance report about why the sewers were locked. And it's key. The stairs led me right to the villa, and when I went back to the administration building, he was back in Dry Wells. Gaius Magnus.
Expecting someone else? I understand you were the one who succeeded where Constantine failed, but you cleared the mine of the infestation brought about by his incompetence.
We get paid, he says that he's got work for us, and that Constantine is no longer here, and no longer a Centurion. He's gonna be judged by the pile of dead legionaries that Gaius came back to. Damn, this guy is strict as fuck. He's gonna put him on a cross. Gaius also mentions that he is the conqueror of the Burning Sun's tribe, harbinger of Caesar's justice. And one thing's for sure, the armor of the 87th tribe looks beautiful. As for the Burning Suns, they believe the sun made them stronger, so Gaius ordered his men to fight only at night. They kept interrupting their beauty sleep, they got more tired, made more and more mistakes, and that led to the Legion's crushing victory. As for our next task, he says that he's returned to undisciplined, weak, lazy legionaries. He wants me to investigate Remus, because Remus was basically Constantine's second in command. But I didn't go to Remus, I went to the fire station. I saw both the suspicious merchant and the former Centurion.
Won't lie, I've seen better days.
It's sunny out.
I feared this day would come. Gaius Magnus is a great soldier, but he has no tolerance for failure. He's right. I can't lead dry wells.
Calling him weak did nothing, so I changed my mind and told Constantine that what Gaius is doing is wrong. This is where I draw the line. How could have Constantine know about the ghouls entering the mine? Then I buttered him up, saying that Remus is loyal to him, that Remus is the one that commands the garrison, and that's when Constantine makes a fatal mistake. He admits that he and Remus have talked about this possibility before, of Gaius Magnus turning on him. He even lets out that the legionaries that run this capture facility too are sympathetic to his cause. Oh well, much like I wanted to side with Colonel Royas in the Long 15, I want to side with Gaius Magnus in Dry Wells. I told Constantine that he played his cards like a fool. He told me I would have made an excellent Frumentarius, and I clued Gaius in.
As I suspected, Remus was plotting with Constantine against me. I'm not surprised. I suppose I could have had Remus killed by association, but I am a just and fair ruler. I don't kill without evidence, and never without cause.
Is he gonna spare Remus? Huh, interesting. Anyways, he's got another task, about an incompetence. The Hunters, the Lodge, the Night Stalkers. Turns out that the Hunters Guild did such a good job in clearing the wilds that they kinda outlived their purpose. At least in his mind. Anyways, been there, done that.
They're already dead. Well, good job, I suppose. Here is your reward. You are quite efficient.
That's another level up, and that is another task. With Remus demoted, he now wants us to help him choose a new Decanus. We are to give him an opinion on Proximus, who we met in the office, or Octavius, who we met in the upper floors of the fire station. But the way Gaius goes about it is, well, it's like he has already made his mind up. Proximus seems like a great fit, and Octavius hasn't exactly even proved himself in battle, despite being hungry and so effective. So, why'd you even consider the guy that's not used to battle to command the garrison?
You should also know that Constantine took his own life before we could punish him publicly. Took the coward's way out and died in a cage. Pathetic.
Damn, dude! Anyways, for level 8, I kept improving lockpick and I took the Super Slam perk. And in the fire station...
You will have to hold that thought. I've been ordered to clear the sewers behind this capture facility. If you'd like, you can accompany my legionaries and I. Maybe it will act as a test for me to prove my combat and leadership ability.
Great idea. I'll just stand back, and if he survives, I will tell Gaius that he has proven himself. In the meantime, I will not help Octavius no matter what. I followed them inside the sewers, and sewer lurk after sewer lurk, they had it. Even by the time that Octavius was by himself, after his men fell, he kept defeating one after the other. At least until he couldn't take it anymore. He died. But he really did 95% of the work. I only had to deal with 2-3 sewer lurks right by the very end. I grabbed his fire axe, used it for repairs, Super Slam embarrassed the sewer lurk king, and I went back to Proximus to tell him that he's been promoted by default.
Oh, Centurion Magnus needs someone capable to lead the garrison. He was wise to come to me.
We can ask him some questions, and no wonder Gaius likes this guy. They are both extremely strict and love fear tactics, and let's face it, he's got no competition for the promotion, so I went back and recommended the one that was still breathing.
Now that our position has been secured, I have a final mission for you when you are ready. One that will root out any final resistance holdouts.
I told him I'm ready. He goes on to glaze me and explains that there is only one group left that can pose a threat to his rule. The people in the villa. But he's not asking for a massacre. He simply wants us to infiltrate them and find what they're hiding. Cause multiple times when they are transporting subjects, they go to sleep with a count of 12 and they wake up only to 10 remaining. And it's been a pattern, so someone's helping them escape. It's always 2, and it's never in a place where they have enough eyes to catch them. It's not random. We're told to speak to Dan if we got any trouble, and that he always talks after being threatened. I accepted the job, and only now am I considered accepted by the Legion. Outside, I kept thinking that I haven't found a single note yet. So I explored a bit more, and that's when I noticed that I completely missed Shelter Sam.
Boom! Are you aware there's a huge bomb coming? It's gonna kill us all. We need to prepare.
Ah, that's the Lonesome Road nuking option. He wants a radiation suit, and I gotta see what happens. I'll get him one. As I was doing some parkour, I found a skill book on a roof. I bought the suits and went straight to Dan. He didn't want to talk, but like Gaius said, we only needed to give him a subtle hint. He loves Jan too much to put her in any sort of danger. No wonder he always talks. And his tip is for us to speak with Diego Ortiz, cause Diego knows something, and he's always talking about people getting what they deserve. Then it was back to Sam.
There's a few more months. That's all we've got. Bomb is on its way.
Have the suits.
Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I'm ready. Mars warned me.
That got me accepted by the villa, and I went back to the mod's description to try and figure out where exactly the notes were. And it was written there. One was close to the sewer and the fire station, but up on a rock. There was a star cap too. I kinda expected something a little bit more incriminating than just, oh hey, there was a tribe here, they were called the Twisted Hairs. Anyways, another note was under a plate, in a corner, not far from the lodge. One was close to the trailer by the Twisted Hairs' cave. And the last one took me over half an hour to find, in the Yaogwai cave. I thought I was going nuts. I knew I had used frags, so come on, it was plausible that things got scattered. Turns out I couldn't find it because I already had it. I'd feel really stupid if coming back didn't lead me to a red victory grenade rifle. Lovely. Plus, I was so focused on looking for a note number 4 that it really took a while for it to click that, it was the final exploration log. Back to the Watchtower guy, and he gave me 10 Legion Denarius and 25 XP for each of the notes. Then, I went on to meet Diego.
Looking to earn some good karma?
Not really. Not on this one.
If you bring chaos and hate into this wasteland, pretty soon that same chaos will start to wreck your life.
I agree, dude. The thing is, if you bring chaos and hate into a Kenturian, pretty soon that chaos will start to wreck your life. That's another irony that isn't lost on me. I tell him that Dan yapped and he just admits it. Everything. He's the one behind freeing the slaves. And then I've gotta tell him that we're gonna turn him in. And that's when I bring chaos and hate to Diego, so... pretty soon chaos started breaking my life. Except I'm playing as the main character and he is just a side bitch. The fire axe took care of him. But now everyone is shooting at me. I hid in the sewers and no one followed me. But when I came back out, well, things didn't go my way. So I had an idea. If Diego was all that I needed, then I can just pop a stealth boy and walk right out. And that worked.
So you found the rat, but you weren't able to make it to the nest. After all our work together, I expected more from you. You're lucky I don't make you join him for your failure. Get out of my sight. I have no more use for you. No reward.
First off, what do you mean work together? I did everything by my lonesome. And what do you mean no reward? Do you really want to walk that road? Because there's a very bright future at the end of a certain lonesome road. And I also thought that reverse pickpocketing would make for a funny skit. So I did that, reloaded, and went back to the Mojave to have my revenge on the lake clerks. It went really poorly, and it took me a while. But eventually I had a stupid idea. I swam to the other shore. I tried to trick the lake clerks into swimming as I hit them. Took a few tries, but it worked. And I still want to see Dry Wells after nuking it, but this was the challenge. And I did beat Dry Wells Legion Expansion at level 1. But I didn't really want to go through Lonesome Road, I just toggled God Mode, made the courier hella fast, and we went on to meet the former member of the Twisted Hairs.
So you came, Frumentari, courier, whatever you are now.
I just cheated my way out of it. Pressed the big red button and targeted both the Long 15 and Dry Wells. And when I made it to the cove and tried to trick the Legion Explorer, oh, they were on to me. But this bit was just for us to see Shelter Sam. Gaius Magnus felt the true power of Mars, and Sam is shooting at me. Or rather, irradiated Shelter Sam is shooting at me. The suit didn't work. Not because I gave him a bad suit, I did not, but because we dropped a huge fucking nuke on a guy that didn't give me a reward. And as always, remember to check the channel and the playlist for more videos, and if you want to help me out, just click that like button. Leave a comment, or join as a member if that is something you would do. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle, to John Walker, to Glitchtail, to Devon Lowry, to Zoxies, to Dancing Peach, to Carter Moore, and to you. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I hope I'll see you on the next one. And I hope you have a good one. Bye!